It's Friday afternoon, which means it's time to kick off your weekend with the Random Christian Show. Today, the Random Christian Show is interviewing Big Rick from Rock Talk Studio. The Random Christian Show is brought to you by Mrs. A's Famous Salsa Buena, a unique blended salsa loaded with cilantro and just the right amount of heat. Mrs. A's Famous Salsa Buena is available in stores across California, Oregon, Colorado, Idaho, Wyoming, Nevada, and Arizona. To find a store near you, just visit mrsafamous.com. The Random Christian Show is proudly supported by The Advisor. The Advisor is a Facebook group created by Colonel James Neil Broaddus, composed of multi-talents such as actors, directors, artists, writers, and more. If you fall into this category, contact them on Facebook at The Advisor. The Random Christian Show can now be seen and heard on the Rabbit in Red Radio Network. Check them out at rabbitinredradio.com. Intro music provided by the Dead Campers. Check them out on Spotify and at deadcampers.com. Next week, the Random Christian Show might be on, we might be off. Stay tuned to our social networks to find out what exactly is happening. I'll know, I'll be looking. My name is Andy. Now here's your host, Christian Random.
And here I am,
Hey.
and yet here you are.
Yes.
And here we both are. And
right.
By the way,
oh yeah, chilled monkey brains. Nice
brains, Zach. Thank you so much, buddy. And did you got yours?
I did. It's still in the packaging.
You can unbox it.
Do you want me to unbox it now?
I think we should. I think we owe that to Zach. We forgot to when we got him the first time. So
okay, yeah. Let me do that. 1 second.
And while Andy's going to his storage room, and see, Andy is such well, let's just say what we are. We're nerds, and he was trying to keep it in the original packaging. That way, if he wants to resell it later, when Chilled Monkey Brains is this huge, bigger than the Red Hot Chili Peppers kind of thing, then he's like, look, it's never been opened. Oh my gosh, the value on this is like insane. So anyway, welcome to the show. It is Friday. Yes, we are on Fridays, Friday afternoons, or yeah, whatever. It's afternoon.
What it is.
And we are so glad to have you along. We've got Big Rick from Rock Talk Studios.
We're gonna be fun. I'm excited to talk music.
Well, and I think we've talked about it in the past. Me and you are both kind of musical nerds. We're the guys who read the liner notes on, well, I guess they don't really have CDs.
Well, we respect the process,
right?
Of record. Well, I'm a musician. I've recorded. I've gone through that process.
Yeah,
it's and it's not easy.
No,
right.
I went to school for music and video production, and I liked the producing side of it, and I enjoyed the engineering aspects, but I also love the performance. Oh, yes, that's right.
And that's right. I forgot.
So
you got me this one.
There.
Oh,
hey.
I love it.
Yes. So there it is. It's thank you so much, Zach from Chilled Monkey Brains.
Yes.
So if you guys are in the Florida Southeast area, look for these guys. They are such a fun band. Google them. Check out they've got a few videos, and their music is on Spotify and SoundCloud and Bandcamp. Is that right? I'm trying to remember.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Bandcamp is I'm old school. I barely know how to calculate through Facebook. Yeah. And when I do, this happens. Oh God! Oh, Captain! The ship has stabilized. And I am appropriately wearing a red shirt, so I'll be the first to die. Just to let everybody know, not just because I'm old, but because I'm a red shirt now. But yeah, so very excited. Big Rick from Rock Talk Studios is going to talk things, rockumentaries, I guess we can call them, and or rock docs, I think is That's what the kids call them nowadays. And then and books by rock stars and stuff. In fact, yeah, I've actually got one by Neil Peart that I read. It was I just love Neil Peart because he's an amazing drummer. I'm a
Yeah.
drummer, or used to be when I had a drum set. And
Let's not. Okay, it's okay.
I still have my practice pad and a bag of drumsticks.
See, all you need to do is take it out and bang around on them
And
every once in a while.
And yeah.
Yeah.
But and like I was rocking out with my
Oh, okay. I didn't know how that sentence was going to end.
whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, Andy, that's the after show.
Right. Yeah, that's after dark.
My
That's the Random
lightsaber.
Christian Show after dark.
I was rocking out with my lightsabers during the show.
Okay.
So yeah, we have respect for the process and the books, but yeah, the Neil Peart. It's not Peart, it's Peart. Wrote several books actually. And it was I've read a couple of them. I still have one. Me and my friends are kind of trading them back and forth. Really interesting actually. How he goes through his process, his personal life. The one I kept was the one when he was talking about being on tour, and he rode his motorcycle around while he did it. It's just anyway, we'll get into that's what Rick does. He reviews a lot of this stuff and talks about them, and it's not lengthy like our show, but it's really great information. I mean, he gives his kind of opinion. Well, we're going to talk to him about it here in a little bit.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Rock Talk Studios is going to be Big Rick. What else? What else is going on? Oh, I got to tell you about this. Okay. So today on my drive home, all right. I'm out here in Kansas City. I was driving up 435. If anybody knows the Kansas City area, it's like a big circle around Kansas City. So I'm driving home 435. Now I've been doing this drive all week, so this would be something that I would have noticed today within just a couple of miles. I'm driving and or this happens within a couple of miles. So just to give you a parameter of what's going on. I'm driving up and I see, lump on the side of the road. I'm like, oh wow. And it's a turkey. It's a huge turkey. But now, okay, you gotta remember, I'm driving and there's there's the median dividing the interstate.
Right.
I'm in the hammer lane, as the truck drivers call it.
Oh, sure. That's the zoom lane, right?
The fast lane, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm in the far left, so I'm closest to the median. So there's the yellow line, making sure you don't go over. And the turkey is like right there, and it is like
sizable.
This turkey is big.
Okay. Now, are there normally wild turkeys around this area?
Yeah, we have wild turkeys all over the place.
Okay, all right.
Lots of people call me a wild turkey.
Hey.
All right. So anyway, I'm like, oh wow, but man, that was a huge turkey. So I'm driving. All of a sudden, I'm like, skunk.
Oh, okay.
And, I mean, flattened, but all right along the yellow line. Okay. Moving forward, and trying to get rid of the smell.
Right, get rid of the smell. Yeah.
Speed up a little bit, staying within the speed limits, of course, as always.
Of course,
I drive safely and within
model
speed
driver
parameters the way we are. So I was doing 35 into 75. Because I'm old.
Flow of traffic, man. Flow of traffic. That's fine. You're good.
There's no traffic in Kansas. Well, not okay. So I'm going up the road. There's right on the yellow line another dead animal. It's a raccoon.
Okay.
All right. Turkey, skunk, raccoon.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, what are the odds? And it's like they're all lined up.
Yeah.
But within, there's space.
Obviously. So they're all in relatively the same spot down the road as you're driving.
As I'm driving along.
Okay.
Then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a deer. And like the deer's, it's obviously a younger deer or whatever, obviously not realizing I don't need to be crossing the road. But it is also right on the yellow line.
Okay, so can I get this straight? You're driving home.
We have suicidal animals.
Well, okay. So, all right.
Yeah.
So, first and foremost, the median, right? Is it like a grass median, or is it one of the?
There's a big wide
So
grass
there's a big. So okay. But
in this area where I'm at. Yeah.
but they were between ongoing and coming traffic, right? That's where these
Yeah.
animals were.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going northbound and the other side was going southbound.
All right. Really, there's something weird about this. Not only that you passed, obviously there's 4 dead animals on the road within 2 miles, right? And it's not like the same animal, right?
Right.
But can I point this out to you?
Okay.
Okay. The animals died in reverse alphabetical order. Turkey, skunk, raccoon, deer. I think this is premeditated. I really do. RST.
Durst.
So there's an
Fred Durst.
Fred Durst did it.
Fred Durst. Durst. D-E-R-S. Well, that's in alphabetical order, so to be
right. Well, okay, but now they could have been going the other way and push them to the other side, right? To throw people off of the set. So there's an alphabetical animal killer or the reverse alphabetical animal killer out there. We need to call Kansas City police right now.
Okay. Okay, here's something.
Yeah.
Because, okay, and this is just how my mind works. Mind you, it's a mess and it's 9 different ways. Okay. They all had a suicide pact, or, as I said, they went down the line.
Yeah.
The deer did it. And then the deer felt remorse and put his head down.
Right. No, murder, suicide.
Boom. I'm just saying.
So can we
CSI in this thing?
We're going to close this case up. Murder, suicide. We'll blame the deer.
Yeah, sure. Why not? No, Fred Durst. I like blaming Fred Durst. That way, there's a little more popularity to it.
Yeah. So there's a missing orangutan that's out of order.
Where did the orangutan come from?
I don't know. It's out of order to spell Durst, right?
No. What?
They were either going in reverse alphabetical order or they were trying to spell Durst going the other way. So you should have gone further. I thought it was you. I wasn't isn't orangutan you?
No.
I'm wrong.
That's your orangutan.
So what is the proper you animal that should have finished the kill order? Now I have to Google animals that start with you.
We need a U animal. What would be a U animal? Anybody out there? Hey, by the way, we have a chat. If you're out there watching, we see a few of you joining in.
Unicorn.
Oh, there it is. That's
Don't listen to unicorn.
Oh my gosh, there we go. Oh, and they are mythical. Oh, they're
right? Yeah. We could have, the unicorn urchin. There could have been a sea urchin that you missed that you were just driving by too fast.
It was out there poking them away into the
right. Yeah.
No, I'm blaming the unicorn.
Okay, so you didn't investigate these, so they could have been stabbed with the unicorn horn.
And then laid out to look like they
look like roadkill.
They were all in a row because the unicorns are lazy.
Yeah,
they are mythical, lazy creatures. It's a known fact.
They are mythical. They are mythically lazy.
Oh my God, nailed it!
Boom.
Oh wow! All right, see, that's why Noah didn't allow him on the ark.
There you go.
So, all right, case solved. Moving on. No, but is that not the craziest thing though you've ever heard?
No, that's nuts.
Otherwise, our theories are awesome though.
That would like, if I see lined up dead animals, like either Noah went on a killing spree, right? Or
What? Oh my god, no.
I mean, or end of times. Like that's, I can't, like if you had driven further down the road, would you have seen more dead animals?
I did drive further down. No, it stopped. The killing spree ended. And
Okay.
I am blaming it on the unicorn. And he's trying to blame it on Fred Durst. So
Yes.
CSI, you suck, we win, and we should get paid for that. So there we go. Right. No, okay. So weirdness of the day over, I guess, or the week for this show for the next 5 minutes. All right. So that's all I was just
that
really weirded out, and
that would have creeped me out as well.
But and the size of the turkey, it was huge.
Did you at least save the turkey and freeze it for Thanksgiving?
No, I can go back. Of course, you gotta have. Yeah, at this point, because it's really close. It's the turkey and the skunk are the two closest.
Oh, sure. So you
like
probably a little
skunk.
Probably a little skunk on the turkey.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can. Yeah. We'll wait for the next turkey to die then.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
And there's actually not too far from where I live, there's a field. And especially it's so funny because close to like October, Thanksgiving, you see them out in the field. Like they're like, ha, 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 we're on private land. And because those are big. I mean,
right.
No.
I
guess I never really, I've never seen a live turkey up close, but except for today. I mean, as I drove by, I went, whoa, okay. 35 miles an hour. Yeah,
that's
big turkey.
Just nuts.
On a 70-mile-an-hour speed limit interstate.
Yeah.
Again, hey, mold. All right. Wow. So there's no way to segue out of that except for the fact that, sometimes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know what that music is? That is I Can't Turn You Loose by Sam and Dave, performed by the Blues Brothers Band, with, the incredible Paul Shaver. Introing our Random 9 list. That's right. And if everybody has paid attention to our promos that are on all the socials, you'd know that our crackhead research team of lawyers and crackheads is made up of basically just a drunken pug wearing glasses on a laptop, banging away on a keyboard. And he gave us the random 9 random rock doc books that never made it to print or film. So we've got it right here. Hardcore research went into this, and lengthy processes, lots of phone calls in the middle of the night to pretty much open bars and
right.
late night convenience stores. So we've got facts, true to the bone. We've got them here, right here for you. 9 random rock documentaries, books that never made it. And
before we start, can I just mention how many great rock documentaries we've gotten in the last 2 years?
That's true.
First, the most recent one, The Greatest Night in Pop on Netflix, around the making of We Are the World, which has been great, which was amazing.
I have not seen that, and I want to very much.
You need to watch it. Also, the documentary on the Go-Go's, fantastic. That was amazing. The Oasis documentary.
I've heard about that. I've heard.
Oh man, so good. Those were just 3 of many really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I just have to ask this: where do you find the time? Not only do you, you watch every movie that comes out. You watch
You know what? That's one thing I don't get to the theater that much. So a lot of the movies that I see are usually months later on demand.
Right. But you still
but if I don't necessarily need to watch a documentary. I just need to listen to it sometimes.
True.
And
show, you just
I like to listen and work. So I like, of the Oasis documentary, I listened to all of it, probably watched about 20%.
No.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of like, it's more of an audio.
I'm multitasking for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
This is how Andy runs the world.
Right.
So no, and by the way, I forgot to mention, kudos on the reverse alphabet order of the killing.
For some reason it popped in
now. How you just happened to come up with that?
For some reason it just popped in the brain. I don't know why or how. Right? Yeah, but like I don't know. It seemed pretty. It just seemed really weird. That like turkey, skunk, raccoon, deer.
I didn't even think about it and then I was sitting there thinking, and then now that we're sitting here, it's again, I'm multitasking now, and I'm going, how did we come up with that in reverse order? Yeah, okay, so
no idea.
Well played, and then we figured out that Fred Durst did it. So there we go.
Now we know.
Thanks to the elusive, mythical, deadly, killing unicorn. So let's get into our random 9 list, which has become a random 15 at this point. All right, so here we go. Number 9, random rock dog books that never made it. The Grateful Dead. They're really not sure how it happened either. And the forward is by the band Fish, which is literally just a blank page.
Hey-o. There you go. Good job.
All right, Andy, number 8.
Number 8. The 80s rock gods, how Hairspray catapulted a music movement.
You mean Hairspray the musical, or
no, the actual product, Hairspray. Yeah. Yes. Right.
Sadly, I was drawn into that for a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, but it was more from my punk days though, because I nail-headed my hair a lot or spiked it. And
is there a photo somewhere? Do we have photographic evidence of this? I'll talk to Lois.
Still have one where I had a fin.
Okay. We might need to see that on a future pod.
Well, we're moving. So
okay. Oh, so you might find it. Or it might burn up in transport. Is that what you're saying?
Probably.
Right.
My wife will be like, oh God, we're never letting anybody ever see this. Babe, that's part of my past. Well, it's in the fire now. So
yeah.
All right. Number 7. Random rock doc books that may or may have not made it into print. Aha. The 2 syllables, 1 hit.
Oh, shame on you.
Hey.
Shame for shame.
Take on me.
Aha did not have 1 hit.
Nobody else knows any other songs.
As a Bond fan, you don't realize they did the theme to The Living Daylights?
Did they really?
Shame on you.
Oh, well.
Shame. Shame on you.
I live in shame every day. Yeah. All right. We'll just leave that there. Moving on. Gotta move on. Andy, number 6.
Number 6, 9 random rock docs books that never made it. The Rat Pack, the untold story of the most underrated hair band of its generation. Prove me wrong.
I will not. I actually very much enjoy Rat.
I love Rat.
Dude, Stephen Pearcy was just great.
So good.
What was the guitarist? What's his name? Went blank, and I was talking in my head about it earlier.
Shame on me.
What is his
Shame on
name,
me.
dude? Oh, Google. Google.
Oh, Warren DeMartini.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, okay, no. Who was the guitarist before that?
Oh, hold please.
And then he went off to not Winger. Oh, God. Anyway.
Jordan Zip. No. That's old. Former members. Wait, where are the starting members?
Oh, well.
Robin Crosby.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Juan Crucier and Bobby Blotzer on the drums.
Right. But dude, Rat just had this unique, great, and clean. Like,
I love Rat. I really do.
They were so hard and raunchy, but it was like this clean. There was a cleanness to their sound.
I
great.
owned all their albums up until like 1996.
Really?
Yeah, and they were in constant rotation. Like I still have, I want to say at least 4 albums of MP3s on my phone from Rat.
I was gonna say, you mean on your iPod?
No, because my phone carries all of my media now, not outdated tech like iPod.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna sell it. I'm just gonna sell it. Why not?
Take it to why don't you take it to an Apple store and see if someone can resurrect it?
No, I trust me. I've done so much anytime I have some free time, I've researched different ways through YouTube, Google, through everything. They're like, oh no. If you've gotten to this point, it's lost.
Yeah, just let it die. You just gotta let it die.
Music. 40 years, rare music you'll never find.
Trust me, it's all out there. You can download it from somewhere.
No, like from some of my friends' stuff.
Oh, well, that you can't. But
yeah, no.
I mean,
like I even reached out to a couple of friends. I'm like, hey, you still got this? He's like, dude, no.
Yeah. Luckily, my college band put all of their stuff on Spotify, so I was able to get when I had my trend. Huh?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
We can Spotify Andy playing.
You can Spotify college band Andy if you want to look for the band Kid Power on Spotify.
Kid Power?
Yeah, Kid Power, and you'll hear you'll hear what I did in college.
I'm gonna find that towards the end of the show here.
Okay.
All right. We're so all right. What are we doing? All right. 9 random rock doc books that are rock docs or books that never made it to print. Number 5. If I could turn back time, the Billy Squier Dream. You know the story behind him, right?
I do, yeah.
That one video killed him.
Yeah.
And it's a great song. That's what I don't get.
Yeah.
But
it's sad.
It's very sad, but
yeah.
And the thing is, everybody's like, oh man, he's so good. All his albums are so good. They were.
Yeah.
One video
blew it.
Video killed the radio star.
Heyo.
Heyo. Heyo. I know. I'm moving on. All right. Number 4.
Can of Corn. Everything you need to know about the band that dominated the late 90s in under 10 minutes.
I'm sorry. I'm just reading some of these for the first time.
A literal can of corn.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
I got to see them in LA. That was a crazy show.
Yeah.
Such a crazy show.
Dude, Suicidal Tendencies. That's a crazy show.
Well, yeah.
But more back in the day when they had the real strong suicidal followings.
Yeah.
I saw them at the farm in San Francisco.
Oh yeah.
And, dude, and they'd all just sit on the wall. Like, all these other bands would be playing stuff and they'd be sitting there and they've got the
oh yeah.
So you and the bandana's covering part of their eyes, and dude, and you're just like, okay, man, whatever. So you're out in the pit having fun, thrashing about, and then all of a sudden, like, the music stops and they're changing sets.
Yeah.
First note from Suicidal, they're off the wall, and it's the craziest freaking pit you've ever seen in your life. And I hung in for about a song, and I was like, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm done. Okay. So
that's awesome. Though.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
All right. Where are we at? 9 random rock documentaries, books that never made it to print. We're
Number
on
3.
Number three, 80s metal, or how to market yourself on the State Fair tours way after your prime. Way after your prime. And if anybody's been to a State Fair to see an old 80s metal band, as much as you love them, you're like, that was way better in the 90s.
They weren't. What's funny is that last year I saw Bush. They were a 90s band.
Yeah. And how were they?
Oh, they were great, man.
Oh, really?
They still got it. No, they absolutely still got it.
I had a buddy who went to a Bush concert. He was like, it was the worst concert of my life.
No, you know what?
And
the sound was great. The vocals were just, I mean, they felt like normal. Like they were tight. They were really good.
It wasn't Motley Crue with Vince Neil.
Oh God, no! I've seen those videos. Absolutely not.
It's like me singing.
Right? Yeah.
And drunk.
Yeah.
When I drank and trying to do, and then start singing Pearl Jam songs to Motley Crue songs and stuff.
Right? Yeah.
Hey, Dr. Feelgood, yeah. All right. Moving on. Sorry.
Moving on. Number 2, 9 random rock docs books that never made it. Limp Bizkit. How clinging to the worst possible name for your band can destroy you in less than 2 albums.
Yeah. And one of the worst album names ever.
Yeah.
The Chocolate Starfish and the, what is it? Hot Dog Water? I don't know. I just had no idea. When people were saying that, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Right.
You know what Chocolate Starfish refers to? They're like, yeah.
Right.
Like, ew.
Yeah.
No. So anyway.
I don't care.
We're moving on. I'm moving forward to the number 1 9 random rock documentary books that never made it to print. Number 1, Never Gonna Give It Up. It's the ongoing story of Kiss, is what it is. Right? And that's because thanks to Gene Simmons and his ability to keep marketing,
Hey,
over marketing,
right?
having to do with Kiss. That's where they're at. So now that that's done and out of the way, and everybody's so happy that that's happened, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna get into that's right. We've got Travis Dunn and Dunn in a Minute, don't we?
Dunn in a Minute.
That's right. I got to get some intro music for Travis.
Yeah, we'll figure out something for that.
Yeah, but in the meantime, we'll just bring this down.
Yeah.
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 Exactly.
Some real talk. Some real talk with Travis.
So yeah, we're now ready for Travis Dunn, and ladies and gentlemen, his Dunn in a Minute.
Hi there. I got a simple question for you today. How is a wedding ring that's used and a rabbit's foot exactly the same thing? You might say that, this is a gold loop. The other one is flesh and bone and fur. Well, they're a lot alike. With the ring, of course, you got a history. It's a used ring before it came to you, which means it only came to you by one of 2 ways: death or divorce. That's the only reason you have that ring. Of course, the rabbit's foot is much simpler. The first owner, it really didn't work out well for her. All that's left is a foot. So when somebody hands you something old or something vintage, or something as simple as a ring that's used, think about where that ring has been, that radio came from, and what kind of luck it was for that first owner, because somehow it wound up being yours.
Okay.
Age, it's all about the facts. Facts are made up of the 5 W's: the who, the what, the when, where, and the why. So we here at Mrs. A's famous Salsa Buena thought we'd break it down for you and make it easier. The who is simple. Mrs. A is a teacher and a mother that loves to cook and reward people with delicious food. The what? Well, that would be the 3 amazing salsas she makes: regular, hot, and salsa verde. All made with the freshest ingredients and no onion, so you can spread the love, not your breath. The when? Well, when isn't there a good time to enjoy Mrs. A's famous Salsa Buena? Where can you get it? Well, how about all throughout California and Southern Oregon, even in Nevada and parts of Wyoming and Colorado, and they're growing all the time. If you don't see it in the refrigerated section, ask for Mrs. A's famous Salsa Buena, or just go to mrsafamous.com. Now you ask yourself why? Well, because Buena means good, really good. And that's because Mrs. A's famous salsas are made with fresh ingredients, and you taste that in every bite because it's Buena. So be good to yourself and get Mrs. A's famous Salsa Buena. Go ahead, eat Buena.
So, done in a minute. Oh, do you hear that? Do you know what that is? Not only is that Cheap Trick, that's also a bad connection.
What did you do? What did you do?
Apparently, I had a little Cheap Trick with the Cheap Trick. That is Cheap Tricks. Hello there, live at Budokan back in, I believe it was 1988. Amazing one of my first concerts. So I'm in Reno. But it's my way of introducing our next gentleman, Big Rick from Rock Talk Studios, talking all sorts of rock and roll and fun, and putting it along. There he is, Rick.
Hey guys, how we doing?
All right.
Doing great. How are you?
Show. Thanks for putting up our frivolities in our
great intro.
Well, it's all right. We paid you to say that, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, my man. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you taking the time, dude. This is awesome.
Absolutely.
Now let's real quick for some of the kids at home here that and on the audio version, you have a podcast and you do it every other month. I can't remember the schedule again. I'm sorry.
It's monthly. The first Tuesday of every month is the podcast, the Rock Talk Studio podcast.
Okay, first Tuesday of every month.
Yep.
And it is unlengthy and boring like ours. It's well, I mean, literally it's about 15-20 minutes, I think, was one of your longest ones.
Yep.
And but man, you I love the way you've got like 3 little different sections. Explain your process on this. I mean, you're reviewing either documentaries on film or books written about rock bands. Now, is it just strictly rock, or is it just pop music in general? What are or just hardcore? What do you got?
It's strictly rock. I would say more in the classic genre of rock. and it's reviewing, previewing, and I think most importantly, recommending rock and roll books and documentaries. So
Okay.
every month I'll do a spotlight title where that one gets a little bit more attention. I'll give it a longer review, and that also gets a rating. I do a rating once a month of one either book or doc. So that's the spotlight title, and then I do like book buzz and documentary news. So I'll talk about books or docs that just came out recently, and then talk about things that have been announced. And I'll tell you what, that is one of the things that's blown me away from doing this. It's been going a little over a year now, is the amount of material that's out there. I was a little afraid when I first started, like, how am I going to find really cool rock and roll books and documentaries to talk about every month?
Oh, man.
I can't talk about enough.
Right.
15, 20 minutes. I usually don't, it's a pretty quick hitting show, but I leave you with, about 4 or 5 things to think about and take a look at every month.
No, it's that's one of the things I've tapped into a few of your shows. Ones I just right off the bat I thought would be interesting. I love the one about the Abbey Road Studios.
Oh yeah, it's a great doc.
I thought that was very, very cool. And I just love your approach with it. I mean,
thanks.
You talked about it was McCartney's daughter, if I remember correctly, right? That did the whole documentary.
Right.
But she had that background insight that she used apparently.
Right.
And really, I'm sorry.
If These Walls Could Sing was the name of it.
Yeah. And the way she approached it, I think, I mean, I've got to find it because I need to watch this because I love hearing about studios. I studied, recording. You'd think I'd have much more technical prowess with the show and everything, but the internet still eludes me, and I'm not sure how all the waves transfer through the inner wires. But I loved how she kind of got into some of the other the iconic people that had recorded there and whatnot, and the Pink Floyd, coming in and meeting the Beatles. They were just like, which you would think Pink Floyd, they were too high to really understand what was going on, but again,
but the Beatles were definitely, they weren't that high. The guest stars, I think, really what took that thing over the top. When Jimmy Page walked in and sat at his little bit, is just this rock icon coming in, and Elton John and Ringo and the guys from Pink Floyd. Noel Gallagher from Oasis is really good in that. That's a good rock doc. Yeah.
No, it's very interesting. There is a plethora of just stuff out there, stuff that people don't even know, and that's what I like about your show. You really kind of bring some of these unknown treasures to light. But what made you kind of get inspired to do this? Were you in radio, or do you have a musical background? How did this all come about?
A little bit of both there. I used to work in the music industry in Los Angeles back in the late 80s, 90s for a while. I managed a really popular record store in Hollywood on Sunset and Vine for years. And then I worked for a couple of independent record labels for a while. And then I had a little radio show on a book publishing company that I did a music feature. So like I said, I've dabbled here and there in the music industry and in kind of radio. And just my love of rock and roll books and documentaries really is how it got started. My friends were saying, well, what do you recommend? What do you recommend? What do you watch? Why? We're always talking about something that we're watching. It just kind of parlayed itself into, I'm going to do this podcast thing and be able to build a community around rock and roll books, rock and roll docs, and basically rock and roll.
Yeah, dude. Okay. All right. Now, if you could tell me off air, that's great. Or on air, that would be great. What was the record store that you worked at on Sunset Mine?
Sure. It's called Music Plus.
Yes.
Like 90 stores that went through California, and it was the #1 store in Hollywood for a long time. And it was great.
We've probably seen each other. I used to live right in Hollywood, dude. Right in La Brea.
Awesome. I lived off of La Brea too, in Melrose. Yep. Right across the street from Pink's.
Oh my God. Dude, we were like very close. We were very close to being there. Yeah, you probably saw me drunk skating up and down. Ah,
Hey,
anyhow.
I have a quick question. So you
Yeah.
said you mainly do classic rock, and I know radio stations sometimes have trouble classifying exactly what year classic rock sort of ends and it just
Oh.
becomes rock. Do you have like a specific year cutoff, or is it mainly just sort of artist base?
I would say more artist based, but 60s to 90s is where the focus is.
Okay.
I'll talk about new stuff a little bit, but
Yeah.
there's so much in that classic period
Right.
that just keeps me busy. I'm reading a couple books a month and watching a couple documentaries a month to keep up with the show. I usually don't go too far ahead, so I'm really always immersed in that genre. But I love it, so it's
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Now, okay, so is that how they're kind of classifying things nowadays? Like the classic rock, you said it goes from 60s to 90s. So then oldies rock would be what? Like
50s, really, it's when it kind of
I mean it's really
rock.
just the 50s era. That's it.
Yeah, it was 50s is kind of when rock and roll started. Little
Yeah,
Richard.
if you go any further
Sure.
back into the 40s, it's more big band and swing, you know.
Yeah.
Which I mean I love. So
Yeah.
I'm not knocking any of the I love all sorts of different music. I mean, I'm sure you probably do too. Are you like we were talking about earlier, are you kind of a musical nerd? Like where you're the guy that looks at the record notes and
Oh yeah.
or,
Oh yeah. Yeah. My wife's always like, "How do you know the bass player for Blue Oyster Cult?"
Yeah. How do you not?
And I can't remember our cousin's name. You know, it's like, how do I remember that stuff? I just remember weird rock and roll stuff because that was just what I was into all my life.
Yeah. I just always found it really cool because well, especially with my past, I would get a little really into looking at the album, man.
Sure.
Like especially like Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, Genesis.
Yeah.
That is the whole story that's about Rail on there, and then or Rael, whatever you want to call him.
Right.
And then the pictures that incorporate with that, double album, you're just like, yeah, you get absorbed into those two albums for hours and playing them over and over. Going, wait a minute, what did I miss? Yeah. So, now, okay. So, what do you find more fascinating out of all these genres? The books? Do you find the documentaries, the film documentaries? What do you think? I mean, I know everybody says books can be more in depth, but sometimes I don't think that's really true. I think some of these film documentaries, I think they really cover it well. I think they get in there and they really dig into it.
They do. But I would have to go books.
Really?
It's definitely a deeper study, and you can go, just and cover a lot more with the docs. I mean, that's what I really admire. Some of these docs that tell a musician's story in 2 hours tops.
Right.
Really hard to do. A good biopic is tough to do. They're doing a Dylan one. They did that one on Elvis recently. The one on Bohemian Rhapsody was great. But that's a hard thing to pull off. A 2 hour encompassing their whole career. So that's why the docs I like when they just pick on a certain time, like the We Are the World one, which you mentioned earlier in the show, just like a certain segment of something in rock and roll history, and just focus on that. And that, I think those are the ones that come off the best.
I think that I think the theatrical productions like Bohemian Rhapsody and some of the other ones, they just don't necessarily hit home for me because you don't necessarily know what's real. And you probably watched this one too. Remember the Motley Crue one that was on Netflix?
Yeah,
I love that one because they flat out say it didn't happen like this. Like we
right. Now that one. Pretty good. That was pretty good. Yeah, there's a new Bob Marley one out that I was talking with people about recently. I haven't seen it, but those are tough to do. The actor, it has to really be done well to come off.
Right.
Yeah,
I've been kind of hesitant to. I've seen like one trailer. I was like, I don't know, and I'd hate to. I love Marley. I love his work.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he's iconic for reggae music, but it's like I just don't want to get turned on. Like I'm telling you, I grew up on Elton John. I love Elton John, and I saw Rocket Man, and I
Right.
was like, I actually stopped watching Rocket Man. I was like, this is not about Elton John, really. This is a waste of time. It really. I was so bummed out because I really wanted it to be good. I really did. And I guess, if you want the theatrics and, oh, let's focus on his homosexuality, that's great. The guy was an amazing musician. And it's like they just washed right over that. Him and Bernie Taupin, the way they did stuff,
Right.
that's what they need to work on. That's what that's what that movie should have been about. But instead, they had to make it this whole other thing. I was just like, dude, man, come on.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's why I think the straight documentaries are a little bit better.
Absolutely.
So the theatrical productions are great for like getting like a feel for the time,
Right.
but not necessarily getting like what the artist is going through. But when you get those ducks, like the Oasis documentary that I think was on Showtime, like listening to those guys talk about, hearing their voiceover, like, yeah, we didn't know what we were doing at that point, and it was just we went crazy, and it was just like hearing that stuff is always just so fun because there are these like momentous moments in rock, and they put it together. That's like there wasn't anything like really like groundbreaking or special behind it. It's just like, yeah, we wrote it in 10 minutes.
Yeah. I haven't done any reviews of biopics on the podcast. It's just straight rock docs.
Is it?
There's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of really good ones that came out last year that I was just blown away by. I don't know if you've ever heard the story of Akira Sakurai, the guy that they did a documentary. It's called Mr. Jimmy.
No.
This is one of my like little secret docs from last year. I turned people on. He dedicated his life to being Jimmy Page. He grew up in Japan, and he saw Song Remains the Same when he was kind of young, and it just blew his mind, and he became this amazing guitar player. He plays right now with John Bonham's Led Zeppelin preview. He's the guitarist.
Really?
Wow.
Looking at this guy, Jimmy Sakurai, it's Mr. Jimmy is the documentary, and a documentary his life. He's playing Zeppelin concerts note for note, and Jimmy Page walks into the club to check him out.
Oh,
and his life changes after that. It's a really great documentary.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's a great one.
How? Oh my God! How insane would that? I mean, you'd have to have nerves of steel at that point. You're up there dressed like the dude, trying to be just like him, and then all of a sudden you look in the crowd and you're like, "Ah, crap!"
It's Jimmy Page. I mean,
you're halfway through the lead of Stairway to Heaven, and you're like, "I cannot miss a note. I cannot miss a note. I cannot miss a note. I cannot miss a note." Yeah, and then you poop your
cool with it too. He really liked him. He thought that he was really impressed with Sakurai, the player. He just thought he was great. That was really cool. That's a cool one.
And see, that's cool. And I mean, I've heard this about Jimmy Page. He's just very, very he's straightforward, but he's just super cool. And like and yeah, I mean, there's other stars that are like, they'll be in your face and why are you doing this? Or oh my God, these guys suck. And then it was all right, man. Yeah. He's just very, very cool about it. And I love his approach. He's never overwhelming. He's gracious, very complimentary to people, even when he's being insulting. I think it's the area of Britain that he's from, but because I've known some people, I have family from Great Britain, but yeah, it's amazing. Well, it's like Sting. Sting is super kind and super cool to people, but like straight up be insulting them to their face. And then it's like you sit there and all of a sudden you think back, he just called me a dickhead, I think, but he did it in the most polite, kind way, and you're just and so softly spoken. You know, it's all right. Yeah, I do believe you're a complete douchebag. Right on. But which brings me to my next. Okay, Snorfus has a question here. What doc or book are you most excited for? I guess coming up, or because if it's already been out, then you can't be that excited for it anymore.
Great question. Snorfus was the name?
Yeah.
Snorfus, yes.
Love it. Love it. That's an easy one. The Alex Van Halen memoir that's coming out in October. That was I still can't believe it. Book, and it's called Brothers, and it's kind of they're leaking a few things out about it, and they're just saying it's a love letter to Eddie. And I just can't even believe he wrote it. It's only been a couple of years that he passed away. I mean, coming out in October, huge announcement of that book called Brothers, Alec Van Halen memoir. That without a doubt. Yeah.
That would be pretty interesting. Because I love the background story of how they became, musicians, right?
Amazing. Yeah.
Eddie wanted to be a drummer.
Right.
And Alex, while Eddie was out paying for his drum set, would go out there and start banging on his drum set. So, and his dad had gotten Alex a guitar. And so they just basically kind of switched.
Yeah.
And then Eddie found amazing ways to tweak his guitars as he kept getting more advanced in his learning. And just the way he talked about how he would go into his garage and like take it apart and then like try and put something different in, to get a sound. It's that one sound. And you're just like, dude. And, he apparently wasn't high or drunk or anything like I was back in the days. So I just, it
was amazing. Yeah, it should be an awesome book. I can't wait for that one. That's going to be
that is intriguing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
definitely one I'm looking forward to. There's a new Christine McVie book coming out, and there's not a lot written about Christine McVie of Fleetwood Mac. That's one I'm interested to. That's a couple months away, and also I just got sent a copy of Chris Stein's new book from Blondie. That's another one.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
I think June or July.
Yeah, because Blondie, I mean, Deborah Harry, obviously amazing as it was, but the musicians backing her were insanely talented. Yeah. I mean, if you really go in, it's like Heart. Okay. Yes, the Wilson sisters are amazing. I think Ann Wilson does a great job. But you listen to the musicians backing them, like the drum line in Barracuda is just mind blowing. Like, if you just sit and listen to that track over and over again, you hear so many different little fills and just the incredible work that's done on it. And then the bass lines, all of a sudden you'd be like, wait. No, rewind. And you rewind. I love that kind of stuff. I love listening to songs like that. I missed something. Hold on. What happened?
I've got a great for you if you like bands and behind the scenes stuff. That was my last show last month. It's called The Immediate Family. Ever heard of it? Have you ever heard of the Wrecking Crew? The Wrecking Crew was a session musicians in the 60s.
Yes. Yeah.
Documentary put out by Danny Tedesco about his dad who was in the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
Well, he did a sequel to the Wrecking Crew. It's called The Immediate Family, and it features the guys who did basically the sounds of the 70s and 80s. Russ Kunkel on drums, Leland Sklar on bass, Waddy Waddy, famous guitar player, and Danny Korchmar. And these guys were all over almost every record coming out in the 70s and 80s. Jackson Browne, Stevie Nicks, Neil Young, Don Henley, Carole King. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. We don't have enough time on the show for me to go through.
They were the sound of pretty much every solo artist or whatever out there.
They were the band. They were the band for all these people. And they went out and toured with all these people. I remember seeing them a bunch. When I saw Jackson Browne, they were there. When I saw Stevie Nicks, they were there. They just loved to be the band for all these people who were kind of their heroes. That's a really cool one if you're into to bands, kind of beyond players.
No, that's oh yeah. I remember I saw a clip about that and I was like, and then I forgot the name of it. So thank you for reminding me about
Yeah,
that. In fact,
sure.
I'm
I
getting
also wanted to ask you about, you said the Neil Peart books you really liked. What about Geddy Lee's memoir?
I
My,
I haven't made it that far yet.
okay.
I barely
Just
have time to watch a commercial for God's sakes. Um,
get the
no,
audio.
I heard about that. I was
There
like,
you go.
Yeah, with
Yeah,
Geddy
get the
Lee.
audiobook and listen to it while you're watching roadkill pass by.
Right.
right. Yeah. Hey, look, there's this skunk. Hold on, Getty said something.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that's
no,
really cool.
I was very intrigued about the wrecking. Hold on, just writing these
The wrecking.
down here as we.
The music, the name of the documentary. It's the last podcast I did last month. So if you want to hear my review of it,
Aha.
check out the
Yes.
Rock Talk podcast.
And for those listening at home on the audio version of this and not watching the visual, if you want to find Rick, Big Rick, and Rock Talk Studios, he's on Instagram, he's on Facebook, YouTube.
I do have a YouTube channel. Yep.
Yeah, YouTube, and then and the TikTok.
And
So
my new favorite thing, Threads.
yes. Oh yeah. But hey, all you gotta do is Google it, and it pulls him straight up first thing. Rock Talk Studios, and again, they are just great, fun. Doesn't take a lot of time, and I went through like 3 of them. I was just like, oh, and
Cool.
I even rewound because I'm like, what I missed. So
Glad you like them.
now do you I haven't seen any yet or heard any, but do you have guests come on at all that talk about any books or anything or
One time I had the opportunity to interview Alan Paul, and I don't know if you're familiar with Alan Paul. He's a New York Times
name.
Author. He wrote the great book about the Allman Brothers' One Way Out. He wrote a great Stevie Ray Vaughan book, and his book last year, Brothers and Sisters, about the Allman Brothers, was great. He asked to come on the show, and of course I said yes. He's such a good guy, and that was one of the greatest rock and roll conversations I've ever had with anyone. I was just so happy, and he was just going off and telling stories about the Dead and the band and the Allman Brothers. It was so great. He is the one and only interview I've done so far. I don't know. It takes a lot, as you guys know, a lot to edit and put together an interview.
That's why we do it live.
Right. Yeah. I like it. But that was it. Alan Paul interview about the book Brothers and Sisters. Really cool book.
That's cool. Yeah, we've had Kenny Lee Lewis on from the Steve Miller Band.
Okay. Nice.
And he's actually been on a couple times. He was a lot of fun. Just talking with him about his travels and the music he plays and the different bands projects that he's got going on.
Very cool.
And I mean, didn't realize how much he's been involved with, and the experimenting with the sounds and stuff. It was really cool.
Nice.
Very fortunate to have him on. We actually got him on through his wife. We had his wife on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was Lucy in Lucy or in oh my gosh, the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. Lucy in the Sky, or the Bee Gees version. Sorry,
right.
Yeah. Version, sorry.
Very cool.
But yeah, no, it was, and he just super great guy, super kind, super nice. Excuse me. So now, do you do any in-depth, like on one certain thing, or do you just keep it to the short little quick blurps about what you've got going on? Because I would think you would have some amazing knowledge on some of these and insights.
Thanks. Yeah, like I mentioned, I do a spotlight title every month. So there's one title that I really hone in on and do a larger review and do a rating on. And then the book buzz and the documentary news comes after that, where I talk about things that have just come out. And I'll do some reviews on that. Last month I reviewed like they're like mini reviews. Like there's a Bob Dylan book, a series of books that came out, Song and Dance Man. I did a mini review on that, and the George Harrison book that just came out a couple months ago. So I'm a little bit behind with those. I usually bill them as like things that kind of fall under the radar that you don't want to miss, that I thought would be great for the community to check out and recommend. And that's usually how I like to play it. It's mainly a positive show. There have been a couple of things that I've reviewed that I didn't care for. That was really kind of tough to. I'm not gonna bag on anything, but I just didn't. It just to me, it just didn't work, and I want to be honest with it. It's just not just
Right.
I'm going to give you the straight truth on it, but it's just one title featured a month, and then you've got about maybe 5 or 6 other things that I talk on and discuss.
Okay. Excellent question, J Toad. By the way, interesting names of the viewers that we've got going on. Which makes me wonder if Jay's been licking toads or something. But so what okay, great question. Thank you very much, J Toad. What is your favorite rock doc of all time?
I can't do that to me, J Toad. It's like asking me like my favorite Dylan song. It'll never no way, no how. Couple off the top of my head.
Okay, top 3.
The Last Waltz is kind of a rock doc, kind of a rock concert, but you got to put The Last Waltz in there. I mean, that's just an incredible. Tom Petty. I'm rocking my Tom Petty shirt today, Running Down a Dream. That documentary was amazing documentary. And of course, Bob Dylan's No Direction Home. You got to get up in there. So
big time Dylan fan, I can tell.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did you think? Because I have an affinity for the band The Police.
Okay.
I'm a huge Stuart Copeland fan.
Okay.
More than anything. But what did you think about the Police Around the World?
I thought it was cool. I mean, I love to see the interaction between those 3 guys because they such an interesting love-hate for each other.
Oh, yeah.
Sting and Copeland were buddies and are buddies, but when they get into a room together, that's where it's a little bit challenging for those guys.
Yeah.
To see that there's such great musicians. I'm a huge Copeland fan too. I just loved just his drumming is incredible. So watching him and being able to see him from different angles and to be able to talk about how he's approaching things is great. Yeah, that's really cool. Really cool.
He's got a little YouTube channel and stuff like that. The Sacred Grove. Have you seen any of those?
What?
It's called the Sacred Grove, where he brings people into his home studio.
Yeah, I've seen a little blurb of it. I know that he has a little channel, but I haven't really dug into it. That's a good one. Yeah.
Dude, it's so cool. Like he had Snoop Dogg in there one time,
really?
and Snoop Dogg's just getting this rap going, and they're just playing, they're just jamming. I was like,
very cool.
Okay, I can see it. All right, cool. I mean, I got nothing against Snoop Dogg. I like some of his stuff, but after a while, I was like, okay, Snoop. I see why you get high and do this now. But I mean, Stuart just took it to such a different level. He was like, no, do this, do. And I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. I seriously, I go goo over Stuart. I'm that big of a nerd about it. But yeah. And then, the Clash, I wanted to bring this up. They did, some people call it a documentary. It's not really a documentary. It's like a really bad B movie, but it was Rude Boy.
Rude Boy. That was a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's very good.
Don't remember too much from that one.
Okay. I'm just curious about what you thought of it. Cause like I said, it's kind of a documentary. It's basically film footage of them playing, but then they use the band members in a backstory, and it's the weird, chaotic. Anyway, so
it's been a while. I kind of remembered something. I can't remember, but I'll dig it up, see if I can find it, check it out.
Yeah, it's fun. Okay. Now I wanted to touch back on because Neil Peart, like I said, he did a lot of I think he did 6 or 7 books.
Yeah, he put out a lot. I mean, I like the one where you were mentioning where he was traveling and kind of going through, his experience of just kind of being a nomad on his bike. I thought that was really cool. I think Exit Stage Left, the documentary, I was watching that the other night, where After the concert, he would literally get out from behind his drum set and run through the backstage of the arena and just jump on his bike and take off.
And leave. And yeah.
And ride for 12, 13 hours to the next arena. It
Yes.
was easy. He just drummed this whole show, and the way he drummed was, 3-4 times what a normal drummer will put into a show.
Yeah.
And he just running off stage, and there he goes off on his bike, and he's just riding. He was an interesting guy. Different type of performer and personality. And it was cool that he wrote those books, because you can kind of like get in his mind a little bit about his songwriting and just what he thought about life in general. Those
Right.
were really
and the different aspects of how he came up with songs. And I think it's so funny when you're talking to people all Russian, they're like, oh well, yeah, and then you go, well, Neil Peart wrote most of that music.
right.
He's the drummer. He did not. Yeah, he did. He's pretty much almost 90% of their music is written by him.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
He read a lot of books and was into a lot of different things. But like I said, the Geddy Lee memoir is really cool. How he talks about Neil, and that's one of the parts I really enjoyed about that book, is because he had to approach his friend dying, and he had to write about it, and he had to write about it with class and dignity, because Neil was really a kind of a private guy, and you could tell that Geddy was really making sure that it came out right in the way he approached it, and it was really heartfelt, really one of the highlights of that book.
Yeah. He was super private and protective about his personal life and whatnot. That's why it was very hard to find him in interviews and all that. And they all they were like a little gang. They protected each other.
Yeah.
And he loved the fact that Alex and Geddy would be they're the ones going out doing the meet and greets.
Right. Yep.
And everybody, oh well, Neil's just being an ass or something. He's like, I just don't. It's not my thing.
Yeah. Which I totally. Yeah.
So who is probably what would be the most chaotic book or rock doc that you have come across where you're just like, oh my gosh, this is just out there. This is so wild.
Wow, that's a good question. Chaotic rock doc, so wild. I'm going to stay recent, and I'm going to stay with ones that I reviewed or talked about on the show.
Yeah,
so a bit easier for me to remember. I'm cheating with this one, but the Matt Sorum book.
Oh yeah.
I want it. Yeah.
For the Cult, for Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Revolver.
Revolver.
Yeah, the rock and roll debauchery in that book stands up with any Ozzy / Motley Crue debauchery. Unbelievable what that guy did and put into his body. And then to come out of it, which is another great part of that book, is his recovery, and to be able to pull through and still be a great drummer, still do really cool stuff. He does a lot of charity work. But I mean, Matt's story, that book, Talkin' Jive, it's called.
Yeah.
Song. That one's wild. I love that. There's wild stories in that one. Yeah.
He is amazing. I saw him. He played with Motorhead here in Kansas City.
Yep.
And I had no idea. And I mean, I was so excited to see Lemmy because, you're like, Lemmy's going to die soon. It's just, it's bound to happen. And of course, not too long after that, he did. But he turns around. I'm like, who is that playing drums? It's not, what's his nuts? The guy played anyway. And all of a sudden he goes, one thing Matt Sorum for playing along. I was like, ah! And again, you kind of think we're at the point where Matt Sorum should be dead also. So
the wild stories. Who's in it? First time he ever played with GNR with Axl, 800,000 people. I think it was like Chile or something like that. And they never rehearsed with Axl. That was the first time he heard Axl sing live.
Oh wow!
Sitting up behind the on the deck there, looking out over 800,000 people.
Yeah.
For the first time. There's like tons of stories like that. That one's a wild book. Yeah.
Now, what about Metallica?
Okay.
Metallica and their
that documentary.
What some kind of monster? I think it was, right.
That was really cool. I like that. I like those where you can see them behind the scenes, where it's really, it's more straightforward. It's truth. They're not trying to sugarcoat it. They're not showing you what they want to show you, or they're going to show you some things that, I'm sure they edited. Of course, they're going to look at it, but they left a lot of that just straight angst in that doc, and that was cool. That was really, really well done.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was a little over dramatic at times, but that's really, I mean, everybody backs it up. Lars Ulrich is like super melodramatic. And, so yeah, I found it kind of interesting because I was like, they can't really be like, oh, wow. Yeah, they really are like that. Great.
It just shows how amazing it is when a band can stick together and have longevity. You got like U2, Rush, and there's only a couple of bands that have gone through and stayed with the original people. There's only a handful, and that's almost an impossible thing to do with the egos and the direction you want to go, and that's tough. And
I mean, after Cliff Burton died, they got Jason.
Right.
Yep.
And then there was just the huge blow apart there because, I mean, obviously the Black Album was their last decent album. I mean, everybody knows that. And I mean, as much as you want to love it, they tried. And I think, they kept trying to come back and they just said, nah, we're done now. This is good. We're cool. We're fine. And they're not pushing it anymore, which is what I love. They're just like, yeah, we're just going to have fun now. And, and that's the way to do it. Don't be like, and God, I love the Rolling Stones, but it's like, guys, let's go.
I'm on the other side of that. I'm more of like, same thing with Dylan and, Neil Young, these guys in their 80s and 90s, like, get out there and play. And keep doing it, just keep doing it. I love the Rolling Stones are going to go play. If you don't want to see them, I get it. I totally get it. I've seen them, a bunch of times back in the day. But so cool that they're still alive and they're still doing it. I think it's great. I love it.
Keith Richards is never going to die. He's the of human beings. It's, or the human cockroach, I guess you can call it. He will survive the nuclear wars and all that. It'd be, all right, man, let's go get another ball of Jack,
We need definitely.
It's I mean, and the great thing is they all sound great still, which blows me away. Yeah. But it's just like, good God. I mean, how they've obviously sold their souls. So it's very clear. But then you get bands like I think we talked about it earlier, Motley Crue. Stop. Vince, no, I know you need money, but sign something or whatever,
people still pay to see him though, so there's something there. I mean, I always lead with my wallet, so they're still getting people to come out and pay. I love John 5, the new guitar player. I like Mick Mars a lot too, but John 5 is boy, he's a hell of a guitar player.
Well, Mick has so much physical
that was
problems. It's and that was the problem. That's why they kept trying to do those tours to help him pay for his medical bills and all that. And so which I thought was great. Again, great group of guys. They stick together. They're like a gang. They back each other up. They're a band of brothers. But okay,
it could be time. It could be time.
Yeah, it's time to. What now? Okay, you said, I mean, the Rolling Stones, great, Dylan, and I get Dylan because Dylan really started out as a solo performer anyway. Do your thing, do your acoustic little jams and whatnot. But I mean, when do you think it's time for some of these bands and stuff to just say, hey, here's my hat going on the wall. I'm sitting on the rock.
Whenever they're ready. Bob's already said, where are you going to find me when I'm 80, when I'm 90? Hopefully on a stage somewhere. And that's just who he is. He's a performer. And Neil Young, Paul McCartney's got more energy than I have, and he's 80. That guy keeps rolling. I hope they all roll till they just feel like they don't want to do it anymore. Just keep going.
I think you're right. I think when the passion is gone, then they can stop if they're just sort of cashing in for paychecks. Like
Yep.
I saw that we were joking about state fair concerts earlier, but I saw the Beach Boys 2 years ago at the state fair, the local state fair, and they were great. They put on a great show. And like I said, Bush last year, that show was up there, man. It was
Right.
really
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think with these artists too, know what you're going to get. You know, if you
Yeah.
go to a Neil Young show thinking you're going to see live Rust, or if you go see Dylan and you think you're going to see, you know, like a Rolling Stone, that's not where they're at right now. And that's
Right.
not what, like, that's not what they're going to deliver. I think you're just going to go appreciate them as an artist now and say, hey, where are you now as an 80-year-old performer, as an 80-year-old artist? That, I think we forget about that. These artists, these people, these icons have been with us. We're so blessed. We were alive during this amazing time where the art form of rock and roll was started and perfected, and still carrying on all these years later by these great people. And they are who they are. You have to accept that they're 80-year-old performers, and I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I forgot you mentioned the Beach Boys. They do. I know people who go see them every time they're in town, wherever they're at, and they're like, man, they just still sound that good. It's like, seriously? And then you see clips of them, and you're just like, all right, my bad. You know, and again, yes, kudos to them, man. Keep rocking, keep doing what you're doing. I think it's great. What is your biggest fear with you know, when you're doing these reviews and stuff like you said, there's some where you're just like, you're trying to put it into words
Right.
with a, I mean, not you. I understand you don't want to give a bad review, but you also need to give an honest review.
Right. I think my
So-
biggest fear with a review is disrespecting the person who created it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, someone wrote a book, someone made a documentary. I know the ton of work that goes into that. So I really want to be really clear when I say this is a part that didn't work for me. I usually will explain it and say why. And one of the things I like to do with the show too is say, hey, this is for a fan. Like let's go Geddy Lee's book. That, to me, that's a perfect example. If you're not a big Rush fan, I didn't recommend that book to you. I don't think it's too much for someone who's not a big Rush fan, because you've got the majority of that book talking about the typical rock and roll world back in the 70s of tour, write, record, tour, write, record. I mean, that went on for years, making that's what they did. Those are all those albums. So if you're not a big Rush fan, I think you're going to get bored. So I'd like to point out that, you know, if you're a fan, this is for you. Like Rush fans, I think every Rush fan needs to read that book. Absolutely. But if you're not a Rush fan, you'll learn about Rush, but I wouldn't recommend it for someone who doesn't really know or care too much about Rush.
Right. No, absolutely. I got you. So Andy, you had another question?
Yeah. Okay. So, well, so a picture was posted on Facebook a couple days ago of a sort of a follow-up to probably one of the greatest rock and roll documentaries ever. I'm going to bring this picture up, and I want you to immediately let me know what you think of this.
All right. Spinal Tap, of course.
Yep.
You know, how did I leave that off my greatest documentaries of all time?
Right.
But I heard there's going to be a Spinal Tap 2.
And that's a picture from the set.
Oh, is that what that is?
That is, yeah. If you can tell there, I'll bring it back up, but there you can tell
there you go.
The age is there.
Look at that. That's classic.
Yeah.
You know what? They got to be real careful with this one, because to me, there's certain things you don't redo.
Yeah.
You don't touch them. You just don't do them. And this is one. I'm really hoping for the best with these guys. I hope that they can take it to another level, because that was so classic. You're gonna, I don't know. It's a dangerous. They're walking a dangerous line with this one, I think.
No, I totally agree. And if it's not completely perfect, it needs to have that same feel and heart from the first one. And so, Chris, I brought up this picture to get Rick's thoughts of So this is a picture from This Is Spinal Tap 2. They're filming it right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
That's a beloved doc, and a lot of people. That's high up on everybody's list of all-time greats. So they've got to really, really make sure they got something for a part 2. If it's gonna work.
I have a feeling like if it wasn't, and I think this is my sort of hope, that if it wasn't right, they wouldn't have done it. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, I just, like,
So.
Shearer obviously doesn't need the money, right? With all of his with all of his Simpson stuff, he doesn't need the money, right? I mean, I have a feeling it's got to be right. So
I'm for it. I'm staying positive with that one.
Yeah, me as well. Me as well.
I'll definitely be reviewing. I guarantee that it will be reviewed. Rock Talk Studio podcast for sure.
Excellent.
Oh my God.
Excellent.
Rick's so taking the safe route on this one. He's just I gotta just do it. It's right there. It's fine.
No, I'll give you the straight truth on that one.
Yeah.
No,
I'm rooting for it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Right. But and this all goes back to your show, which we're talking with Big Rick from Rock Talk Studios. It's a podcast on the first Tuesday of every month.
Yep.
And I'm just restating this for the listening audience that we have out
there.
But I wanted to I just love the fact that you're very fair in the way you talk about it. Even if you like it, you're not like over gloating about something or anything. You just state the positives. And even if it's something you're not that comfortable with, which I caught, and I'm trying to remember there was something you were like, yeah, I could tell you were apprehensive in the way you were talking about it, but you still did it very respectfully, and it was very well done, man. I was really impressed, because some people can just, yeah, and then they just start bagging on it. It's like, all right, man, come on.
Right.
These people put it out. Obviously some people like it, but, and again, as a reviewer, I get it. That's, some people go for that whole shock value kind of thing, or whatever, but it's just like, dude, chill. So
from all different angles. So when people leave, they are either going to go get it or they're going to pass on it. So give them an idea. Like if they really I've heard about it, I wonder, oh, that's what it's about. That doesn't sound like that's what I'm interested in. And also, oh, I didn't know about that. That sounds great. And like I mentioned before, I review, preview, but most importantly to me, recommend is where I enjoy. And that's where I enjoy my social platforms, because I talk to a ton of people about rock docs and rock books all the time.
Yeah. Now, have you gotten like any, I guess, threats or anything? Like, how could you ever say that about, Aerosmith or something?
Right.
Whatever.
You
get people that are hardcore like that?
No, I haven't gotten a lot of bad, press, I guess, or reviews. People coming at me about saying things that they didn't agree with, because music is so. I don't argue with people about music. If you like something that you like, that's good for you. I'm glad, music is music. It's just universal. You can interpret it in a million different ways. And if you don't like it, then you don't care for it. And if you don't like what I said about it, that's okay. Because what are you into? That's why I always, what do you like? What are you into? Oh, you didn't like what I said about Geddy Lee. Okay. What do you like? That kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, it's, I just, especially like, I'm so far, and just from my personal experience, I have found Stevie Ray Vaughan fans to be such, overly dedicated. I mean, the guy is an amazing musician. I'm not taking anything away from that, but it's like, okay, not every song is mind blowing, but I've owned a lot of Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I've listened to it a lot of times, but it's like, no, man, he's the best. Yeah, okay, for what he does, but
I don't know. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, he kind of created his own genre in a way,
right?
So you can't really compare him to other people. He's kind of his own world, but John Bonamassa and all these other, it's like, okay, but again, different kind of thing. You can't compare BB King to Joe Satriani. It's not the same thing. It's
Right.
I don't
Right.
know. So
And Stevie Ray, that was probably the hardest review to do on the show. I reviewed the documentary Brothers in Blues and his brother Jimmy, and I didn't care for it. And it was really hard to say I didn't care for it. And really hard for me to break that down because I'm a huge Stevie Ray fan. I saw Stevie Ray a bunch when he was alive. I was real blessed to see him, play live, and the shows he did with Jeff Beck were amazing, that tour. So I'm a huge Stevie Ray fan, and I was really pumped for this documentary. And I remember when I watched it, and I just looked down. I'm like, oh, no. And I'm like, I got to watch this again. Maybe, I don't know. I wasn't in the right place. So the day later, I watched it again, and it just didn't hit. And I just had
Oh, no.
I had to. It's one of the worst ratings I've given out on the show. Oh,
oh wow.
sorry.
Wow.
Stevie Ray fans. I love Stevie Ray.
But I mean, tell me if I'm right. Most hardcore fans you've probably come across, I'm sure.
They are. Stevie Ray does have very, very dedicated, hardcore fans.
It's worse than Grateful Dead.
Hey, Rush fans are very dedicated too.
Yeah, that's true too.
Rush fans are really got to be kind of careful around your language with Rush fans too.
Oh my God, yeah. And again, for years, always calling him Neil Peart or Pert. It's Peart, man. Okay, all right. So,
I've had people come at me on social for saying it's Pert, and I'm like, however you want to say it, man.
Okay, yeah. Take it up with him when you get there. Whatever. It's and he'll tell you it's Peart. So, all right. Well, all right. So every first Tuesday of the month, Rock Talk Studios. Now, do you have any other plans of expanding this? I know we're getting close to time here, but do you ever think, maybe I'll take this to a different level, or maybe do a side show out of it, or what do you got?
I'm open to your suggestions there. That's got some grand plans for the Rock Talk Studio. I love it. Not right now. This year I've dedicated myself to what I call going on tour. So I'm going on as many podcasts with other people and talking rock and roll, and I'm really enjoying that. I've been on a bunch already this year, and when you guys asked, I totally said yeah. I jumped on the chance to come and talk to you guys because I like what you do. So grand plans, I guess, to stick with my podcast tour this year and just keep reading those books and watching those docs and talking.
And zone it out, man. It's far out.
It is.
Dude, I mean, want to talk about a long strange trip it's been. It's this podcasting journey is amazing. I mean, no, I happen to just because I watch all sorts of different things, especially recording and stuff like that. And you just popped into my feed, and I started watching. I was like, what the hell? So then I dug in. I was like, oh man, I got to talk to this guy.
Nice.
It was like, again, I was just so impressed with the way you were in and out, but then you were so even keel about everything and presented it the way you did. And even when you were happy with something, you didn't expound on it. And it was just very, very cool. It's a very well done show, man. I really do enjoy it a lot. And I really, really appreciate it. So thank you. I really dig it. Keep doing what you're doing, because this is it's really okay. Yeah, I know. We're a little behind. That's the guy that lives in the attic here, and
Right.
as far as I can tell, are in the rafters or something. But he loves our section on random questions of insanity, which we get to do here, and it's just a crazy little bit. It's a little test of your psyche and IQ. We do it with everyone that's been on the show, even people who've been back a couple of times. We like to see if their answers have changed, but it's just a little fun thing we like to do, and we wanted to know if you wanted to play. Not that you really have a choice.
Let's do it.
There. See, that's the right answer. So anyway, we have 2 base questions, and I believe you'll be good for both of these.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our first one is, what is the best James Bond film?
What is the best James Bond film? Spy Who Loved Me.
Oh,
All right.
yes. All right. Now, is Roger Moore your favorite Bond, or was Sean Connery, or no?
I like Sean Connery a little bit better.
Yeah. I've been pretty happy with most of them. But yeah, Roger Moore and Sean Connery are my faves.
Yeah.
Now, second question: what is your favorite sandwich, and what all is on it?
Well, I'm a vegetarian, so I don't eat a lot of sandwiches.
Okay.
So it's got to be cucumber and hummus.
Oh, what kind of hummus?
With a little hot sauce.
Ah, yeah. What's your
All
most favorite hot sauce?
Tapatio.
Really? Yeah.
Nice.
Very nice. Very nice. All right.
There's a ton of great salsas out here. I know you guys have a salsa sponsor, but I'm in San Diego, so fish taco and Mexican food and salsas best.
Yeah. Hey, she's out in San Diego now. Look for it. Mrs. A's famous salsa buena. The Verde.
Yeah.
Mwah.
Verde. Nice.
Yeah. Truly, it's awesome. All right, Andy, let's hit with one of your questions here.
What was your favorite toy growing up?
Evel Knievel, little Evel Knievel guy who used to jump over ramps and stuff like that.
Nice.
Yes.
You remember that?
Oh my God, I destroyed mine. I jumped it off so many things, dude. And then I tried to get my buddy to live down the street, Marty. I'm like, dude, let me borrow. No, you ruined yours.
Go way back.
And hey, while we're on this, real quick, does you're okay? How old are you?
I'm in my 50s.
Okay, I'm 58.
Okay.
Do you remember back in the days there was an action figure called Big Jim?
What do they stretch? Was that the stretchy guy?
No, that was Stretch Armstrong.
Okay, Stretch Armstrong.
I don't know.
I don't remember Big Jim.
I vividly remember this toy. Nobody else seems to. In fact, I'm gonna have to Google it. I keep saying, I gotta Google it so I can find it. All right. What's something everyone else has done that you haven't?
Everyone else has done?
Yeah. Like it seems like, oh, everybody's done this, but you're like, yeah, never done it.
I've done a lot of things.
For you eat meat.
Nothing even comes close to like eat steak.
Okay, well, there we go. Yeah, okay. Andy,
we're on a road trip and you got the music going. And what's the one song that comes on the playlist that we look at you and say, how did this end up on there?
Maybe a Tom Waits song.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
I mean,
acceptable. That's acceptable.
All right.
Yep. Again, there are really no wrong answers here.
Right.
All right. What is the most annoying sound?
That guy from Dumb and Dumber with
Yeah. All right. Well, that's fine. That's the answer. All right, Andy.
Your food is bad at a restaurant. Do you say anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Wait on that. Yep. Yeah, straight out.
Politely, I'll say something. But if it's bad, yeah, I have to say something.
Yeah. Okay. You'd be surprised how many people don't.
Yeah. No. It'd have to be really bad. No. If it's, I'm paying good money. I want my food right. So, let's see. Where is your happy place?
Right here.
Yeah. Boom. No. Again, no delay, man. He's in Spitfire. Andy.
Okay. We're back in your car. You're alone this time. All right. What's the one song that comes on what's the one song that comes on your playlist that you just can't help sing along to?
Oh, all of them.
All of them. Nope. Solid.
Talking all of them, man.
Yeah.
All of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's me. I'll especially if I'm alone, I'm singing with almost every song. Probably not all the right words, but I'm singing along. All right. Since Andy hasn't asked his standard every time question, you have a choice to save the world. All right, Rick?
I'll do it.
Okay. Who do you choose? Iron Man or Batman?
Or who?
Batman.
Well, I'm a big comic book fan first, so I'll just preface it with that. I love comics. I've got to go with, that's a tough one. Iron Man or Batman? I was going to say Iron Man off the top of my head, but then I thought about, well, Batman's a pretty sharp guy himself. I'm going Iron Man.
Yes! We are now instant best friends.
All right.
Wrong answer. It's Batman.
All right. I know. Can't follow that one. No way.
Well, and then we've talked and we've come to the compromise that Batman in an Iron Man suit with Tony Stark's IA in the suit.
Right.
I think. Yeah. So
That would do it.
that's our compromise. That's our way of evening it out.
I like it.
All right, Andy.
Feel free to not answer this.
Okay.
But what's the funniest way you've ever broken the law?
Funniest way. I chopped down a tree in a park once and used it for a Christmas tree.
Yes. That is no, that gets a round of applause is what that does. That's awesome.
All right.
That's great.
Not that I'm condoning it, but you did it for the right reasons. So
Christmas.
Let's see. Let's go with where what was I looking at? No, I'm not gonna ask that. That's okay. Number one bucket list item.
Travel around the world with my wife.
Oh, all right. I like that. How would you travel? By boat? By plane? By train?
All of them.
Through Spain?
All
and
of
Maine?
them. All of them. Spain, indeed.
All right. No, I like it. Very good. All right. Andy, one more.
You have to name the music album based on your life. What's its name?
Oh.
Time Out of Mind.
Yes. Oh. That's it. I'm not asking any more questions. That was nailed it. That was great question, Andy. All right. So
okay.
Rick, man, this has been awesome, dude. I'd love to have you back on. Talk some more, especially if you got something big coming up. Now, do you have any big shows coming up that we could let the people know about that we might be talking about here soon?
Next show is featuring a book called She's a Badass about 20 female rockers. That's really cool. I'm also going to be talking about Jim Gordon's book, the famous drummer who was involved with probably the most tragic thing that ever happened in rock and roll. So if you want to check out the show or Google. And rock and roll's got a lot of tragedy, but that one was intense. So that's coming up in 2 weeks, first Tuesday of every month, April 4th, I think, if I can remember.
All right. No, I like it, dude. That's awesome. Okay. Well, and the iPod quit working, or I'm giving up on music. I'm just going to listen to your show from now on and take all the rock reviews. And
there you go.
Go from there. Docs and books is my new thing. I don't listen to the music anymore. I just listen to docs and books. All right. Hey, again, Jim or Rick, thank you so much for being a part of this. Every first Tuesday of the month, Rock Talk Studios with Big Rick. Check him out. Make sure you find him. Yeah, you're on all the podcast sites, I'm sure, correct?
Wherever you get your podcast, you'll find Rock Talk.
Beautiful, man. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Rick, thank you. Enjoy. Have a wonderful day, man. Thank you for being a part of this show. Can't thank you enough, my friend.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right. Peace out, brother. Thank you. Dude, seriously, we probably should go a couple more.
We definitely need to follow up because, we definitely there's more we got to get into with him, I think. So. Okay.
He's only used to doing 15 minutes, so I'm like,
right. Yeah. No. Yeah. We extended his. Yeah. So, Chris, we briefly mentioned this before we started the show, but my name today.
Yes,
TV player.
TV player.
Did you figure out what it's from?
No, I'm clueless.
We should have asked Rick while he was here, but so TB Player is how Ethan Embry is credited in That Thing You Do. They never say his name. He is the bass player.
Oh, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Dude, no. Well, all right.
Literally in the credits, it's TB Player, and that's it.
Dude, well played.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, there it is, Mr. Dracopoulos.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so this concludes our broadcast day, and we're very happy to have had you along with us. And so we just wanted to say thank you for everybody. Thanks for Rick hanging out with us again. Rock Talk Studios, seriously, just a great review site for classic rock books, classic rock documentaries. Make sure you check them out, please. And follow, and share. Follow, and share this show if you've enjoyed maybe even a part of it. We appreciate you all out there. Next week, it's just going to be me and Andy, just for hanging out, having some fun. We got some fun topics. Maybe we'll talk about some more roadkill weird incidents with reverse alphabet and whatnot. In the meantime, though, for Mr. Dracopoulos, I'm pointing the wrong way, and myself, we want to thank you all. Have a wonderful week. Thanks for hanging out with us after being a couple weeks off. We'll see y'all next week. Be good, kids. Peace out, and hasta luego. Maybe. Kind of. See ya.